Welcome to My Pet Project. This is Lauren Brinkman. Today, I had the opportunity to sit down with Lenore Saindon, who is our medical director at our vet clinic at Underdog. And she is a force. She has done more spays and neuters than just about anyone I know, and she counts them. She has been with Underdog for about 6 years and has served so many people and pets in our care. And I've seen her blossom even more as a vet since she's had the opportunity to work with our foster parents in our community to provide accessible care and high volume spay neuter, in addition to a number of special surgeries over the course of our time together. She's helped us get our mobile clinic started so that we can go and help shelters throughout the state. And she is just a wonderful employee, a wonderful veterinarian, a wonderful mother to her daughter. And she has really helped a ton of our fosters through tough situations with their pets when they were sick and needed to get better. I feel so lucky to have her on our team, and I hope you enjoy chatting with Dr. Lenore. I'm very excited today. Thank you for joining us on My Pet Project. I have Dr. Lenore with us, and she is our medical director and has been with us for what, 6 years?
I started, it's nice and easy. It's January 2020 is when I started. So I know it's been 6 years. Yeah.
So I'm really excited to have some time to chat with you. We have so many fosters who get to see you in appointments, but we're always kind of moving quickly. And I think it's really going to be cool for everyone to get to know some really interesting things, I think, about who you are and what made you want to get into this mess. So why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah. I'm Lenore. The reason I have I feel like a long backstory. You know, I wasn't one of those people who knew I wanted to be a vet from when I was really little. There's some people that are like, I wanted to be a vet from whatever age, and, you know, they started school and that was always their path. But my interest in animals was always there because both my parents grew up in rural Wisconsin on dairy farms. And we would frequently visit my grandparents all the time. We spent most of our weekends going to be on the farm. And so used to being around cows, cats, and all my family members are huge animal lovers. And so I really grew up in that kind of environment. So it makes sense why I wanted to go into the animal field. But when I started college, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I was actually really focused on environmental studies.
Where did you go for your undergrad?
I went to UW-Madison.
Okay.
I looked at environmental engineering, and I was also very into art too. I actually got an art scholarship, and
Really?
I was looking into going into medical illustration. So I was all over the place. And so after I graduated at Madison with a bachelor's in zoology. And during my undergrad years too, I was really like into traveling and wanting to have all these experiences. So in the summers of undergrad, one summer I went to Australia and I worked at a zoo for that summer. So much fun.
What was your favorite animal that you worked with there?
There was this crocodile named Sarge, and he had an interesting story because he was missing an eye because the cops were called out because this crocodile was being a nuisance, and a police officer tried to shoot him, and they shot him in the eye, and he didn't die, and so they brought him to the zoo.
Oh my God.
And he was super old. But the red pandas, dingoes, it was so much fun.
Did you get to hug a koala?
Oh yeah. I helped like be the person to like hand the koala over to people to take photo ops with them. And there were some babies while I was there. And there was this one koala, when you'd clean its enclosure, all he wanted to do was be held by you. So he would just constantly be trying to crawl up your leg as you're trying to clean his enclosure. It was an amazing experience.
I never knew you did that. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was like undergrad. That was before
Yes.
or
Yeah.
like in between?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was in the summer of my undergrad education. And then another summer, I always have had a fascination with sharks. So I went to South Africa and I was an intern, and I did great white shark research.
Oh my God.
And so what we would do is we would get on a boat every single day, go out to Seal Island, and we would go chumming, which is throwing a bunch of like dead fish into the water to attract these sharks. It's not legal in the United States, but it's legal in South Africa. And that would attract the sharks. And then we would entice those sharks up with a chunk of tuna to get a picture of their dorsal fin, because their dorsal fin is like their fingerprint.
Huh.
And so then we would be able to assess like how many sharks are in this area. Are there reoccurring sharks that come? And some sharks were always there. Some sharks were like seasonal. And we did a bunch of other studies and stuff, but that was the focus on that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did anyone ever get injured doing that?
No.
Okay, good.
No one got injured. It was a rush though, and it's such a cool. I think they're amazing creatures. So interesting. Yeah.
So you come back from South Africa, you have these experiences in these different continents,
Mhm.
and what what made you think like did that all kind of come together and make you realize I want to work with animals like
Yeah.
professionally?
Yes. I knew I always wanted to work with these animal, any animal. But I didn't know if I wanted to do research, if I wanted to do medicine. If so, once I graduated, I worked at a doggy daycare, and then I knew that wasn't. I wanted to do more. And then I worked as a zookeeper. And that was an interesting experience because it wasn't an AZA accredited zoo. So they didn't have too high of standards for their vet care. But that was an exciting time.
There were some wild stories from that.
Real wild stories.
Is there anything you feel comfortable sharing from your time there?
I will never forget this, till the day I die. But the big story is one day there was a bunch of school groups coming to do, their school tour, coming to the zoo. And I heard that the tiger had gotten out of the enclosure, and the tiger was just prowling around the zoo while these bunch of little kids were getting off buses to come into the zoo. And I was thinking, this is the day this place finally gets shut down. But the tiger luckily went back into the enclosure, got scared, and everything was fine. And then now the zoo is closed down. So it's not running anymore. But when I was there, I saw a veterinarian do a neuter on a badger, and and that's when it kind of triggered, like I wanted to do more. And so that's what triggered me to go to vet school.
And you went to an interesting school too.
Yeah, I went to Ross University. So that's located in St. Kitts in the Caribbean. And why I went there is because if I wanted to go to school in the States, I would have had to wait like 2 years or something like that. And I wasn't interested in waiting. And so I applied to Ross, got in, and started vet school probably within 6 months. And so I lived in St. Kitts then for 3 years, which is also a crazy wild time. It's not a third world country, but it's not a first world country. There's things like the power going out all the time. Sometimes there isn't running water after 8 o'clock. Groceries come in on a barge on Wednesdays. So you want to go grocery shopping on Wednesdays to get good produce. But yeah, it was a very cool experience. And one of the rotations there, I did get to work with the local vet on the island. And that was really neat because you got to work with the local people, and, how they work with their cows and stuff is much different. And then the last year of vet school, you come back to America and you do your final rotation in a clinical school. And I went to Oregon State. So I got to spend a year living in Oregon.
That's why you were there. Okay, I just thought you moved there for a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And love, love, love Oregon. And that was great. But unfortunately, family, friends don't live in Oregon, and it was a tough decision, but I came back here and, it all worked out.
So you worked with all these crazy, wild or exotic animals.
hmm
And what led you to come to small animal practice?
Yeah. So I guess another thing too is when I graduated vet school, my first real job was working at USGS National Wildlife Health Center in Madison, which is a research facility that studies wildlife diseases. So I didn't initially jump into the small animal practice, and there I worked with bats, and we were studying white nose disease with a fungus that is wiping out a lot of our bats. And so I worked in the research area, but then I learned my specialty isn't with writing and that kind of line of work. I'm really good with my hands and like art stuff, and like I really like surgery. And then that environmental thing came in, and I was like, what would be really helpful if I spayed a lot of cats to help control the population. And that's a huge dent that the wild cat population does on our ecosystem. And so that kind of got me interested in this kind of line of work. I went and worked then at the Fox Valley Humane Society, which was in my hometown.
And you really don't get to cut a lot of like you don't get to do a lot of surgery until you hit a certain point. Is that where you kind of dug into actually being able to get that experience?
Yeah, there was one rotation in vet school where we went to the Portland Humane Society for a month and lived at a dorm there, and we got to do spay and neuter, but also wellness. And let me tell you, I was horrible at surgery when I
No.
first started. I was just like, I think the teacher was just like, how is this girl messing up a cat neuter? This is like the easiest surgery. And I was just like, I was not good at it. But I liked it, and I had a drive for it. But the Fox Valley is where I literally was just doing spays and neuters. That's when I started doing the rabbits too. And yeah, I just knew I wanted to live in Madison though, and that's kind of what brought me to this area.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, me too. It all worked out.
You keep track of your
Me
surgeries.
too.
Do you know what your current number is, or is it just kind of a book full of tallies?
I will say, since being pregnant, my track record has fallen a little bit behind, but I know it's over like 4,000. I'm probably between like, I don't know, like 4,000 or 7,000 or something like that.
I
Yeah.
bet the majority of vets don't even like do a quarter of that in their lifetime, because I would think the average like general practice vet is not really doing surgeries too often.
No, yeah. When I wanted to move to Madison and I was interviewing at more general practices, I was, really disheartened when they're like, "Oh yeah, we do like maybe 5 surgeries a week," or like, it was, yeah, the numbers were really low. Um, and yeah.
How many surgeries are you doing a day? Like, or how many, like if I had 50 cats, like how many?
Yeah, I mean, I think my record was like something close to like, yeah, 40 or 50 animals in a day that I've done. But yeah, so on the mobile, I think we're doing about 30, which is a good even level, because I will say it gets a little hard on the body doing those high volumes consistently.
What hurts? Is it your hands or is it your
Yeah,
back or everything?
for me, it's my hands, like carpal tunnel. Like I would wear those gloves that night, and that would help. But yeah,
And a lot of times I feel like besides your hands, it's really just the fact that we have to do a bunch of paperwork. Like you do like a 5 hour, it's not even like 4 or 5 hours that you're doing these surgeries. You just bust through them, and you're making a huge dent in the community that we're taking those cats from.
yeah, yeah. It's yeah, I'm very happy with how, with, just the prep of like maybe an hour before, and then we can bust through 3, 4 hours of surgery. We can get a lot done. And yeah, and then afterwards, paperwork and stuff like that.
The boring stuff.
Yeah, emails and yeah.
So I mean, you aren't just sitting around doing cat surgeries here. You're helping us create, like, we've created a bunch of SOPs, protocols, that kind of thing. it takes a lot to keep the vet clinic going. But what other kind of stuff are you doing around here?
Yes. Well, an example of something that I did today is, well, I love surgery. And so we removed a salivary gland on a dog today, and that is not a very common surgery. I've never done it before. And I was talking with my tech, Sam, who's been in the field for 10 years, and she's only seen it done once before. So, um, what I really like to do in Underdog is take these animals from down south and provide medical things that not a lot of other rescues and places can do. Basically, fix them up and find them a forever home. And like they might not always be healthy, but at least we get them to a part where it's not whoever's adopting them has to put a lot of resources into it to getting them fixed up.
Absolutely. And I mean, when I first started Underdog, the biggest hurdle that I found like really quick was vet care is expensive. And so that's why I started tricking vets into working for me as volunteers or as paid employees. And then were able to take those animals. So when we are working with our source shelters in the South, there are so many animals in those shelters, and we really try to bring up ones that are behaviorally sound. That's kind of our biggest thing.
Mhm.
Because if they're behaviorally sound, I know that you and our team of vets is going to be able to fix a lot of things in house.
Mhm.
So when there's an animal who has a leg beyond repair, you know, we try to figure out with you like the records we have, but often you'll say, yes, we can take that dog because we can do a surgery or an amputation. And there's no resources at so many of these shelters. They don't even
Mhm.
have money to deworm them at some.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I hope it feels as heroic as it is that we
Yeah.
can take that animal up thanks to you
Yeah.
and do this crazy surgery that the majority of vets in Madison haven't done.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel so lucky to be supported and have this opportunity to be in a place where I can do those kind of things too. We've really advanced with all the surgical equipment that we've have gotten this past year, even.
Yeah. Um, I mean, you do dentals. We have our dental x-ray now.
Hmm.
And it's been really cool. You went to continuing ed to learn how to do echocardiogram.
Yeah.
Tell me, tell us about that.
Yeah, something that I never thought I would do in my career, and something that most people would need to do an additional 4 years of vet school to like go and do. But yeah, we went through a continuing education to learn how to like, collect images using our ultrasound machine on the heart so that we can better understand what kind of heart disease a pet has, if it needs medication. And sometimes these medications will even improve how the heart looks on these images. So it can be interesting if you come in with a patient and see this valve disease, start them on meds, check them, and the valve disease has improved with these medications. So very cool that we can, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that it just, the more the community supporting us, and like in that case for that ultrasound, we were supported by Maddie's fund
Mm.
and able to get that thing that we would have never been able to afford otherwise. I think it was like a $50,000 piece of equipment.
Yes, it is like the gold standard ultrasound machine. Like it's so nice.
It just really helps us though, because I think just because an animal came from, humble beginnings, I don't think they deserve any less quality care.
Mhm.
And that's something that I think we've really grown over the years is the quality of our vet care we can offer,
Mhm.
through the different trainings you've gone to, through like the continued experience. But I think a lot of the shelters we work with want to work with us because of you, because of Dr. Bree, because of Dr. Miranda, that they know that when the animals come up here, that we're not going to have to say, oh, we're going to euthanize because of that dog having a cruciate tear. Because
Mhm.
now Miranda went to CE and she can do her TTL procedure.
Yeah.
It's just so exciting to be able to give these animals top-notch care.
Yeah.
Um,
And a second chance.
yeah. Well, and there's members of the community too that bring their animals to us. And I mean, how does it feel to be able to take, I mean, I feel like every day you're coming back here into my office and you're like, "Oh, this guy can't afford this here, so can we do this?" Like,
Mhm.
I mean, what is that like, compared to, like, you were only in general practice for a minute,
I
but
No, but it is so refreshing, and nice being able to provide someone with affordable care, and because these people come in and sometimes they're so frustrated because they've already just spent like $1,000 and they don't have answers, or now that they know that they need a $2,000 surgery after they just spent $1,000, and they are so stressed. And I get it, like people these pets are their family, but some of these things are expensive. Like you shouldn't. I don't judge anyone who doesn't have a couple $1,000s to just drop on their animal. And pet insurance isn't always the answer. So it's so nice to be able to provide some care for people who can't financially just drop a bunch of money.
Mhm.
Because it doesn't mean they don't love their animal any less. And we get to do that. Yeah, that's what we get to do a lot of. So yeah, it's our fosters, then we have our public clients, other rescues, all around. We get to provide services to a whole variety of people that maybe wouldn't even get anything done. Like maybe they wouldn't even get an echo done. Maybe they wouldn't even get the surgery done, um, if it wasn't for us to be able to financially work with them.
Something that you've really been a huge leader on, in addition to the stuff we're doing at our brick and mortar, clinic, is you helped us get our mobile practice up and running. And I feel like the last few years we've been kind of throwing darts at the wall to see what sticks.
Hmm.
How do we best utilize that tool? So we have this mobile clinic that we can do spays and neuters on, we can do dental on. And you've just kind of been up for hopping in the truck and going to a humane society. What's that been like when you've done that?
Yeah, it's exciting. It's definitely nice to have a little change of pace from getting out of the clinic. It's always an adventure. We never know what we're gonna get ourselves into. Um, and it's such a process, driving that huge mobile hours away, and then arriving somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Sometimes these places only have like one restaurant. It's usually one Mexican restaurant.
In the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin.
Yeah. Um, but getting to know the people has been really rewarding. Everyone's usually very appreciative that we're coming to do those services, asking when we're coming again. That's the only thing is I feel bad because they're always like, "When are you coming again?" And blah 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 blah. Like they always want more from us. So we know that there's a need there.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it's an adventure. But it is so rewarding at the end of the day, knowing I just helped 30 people, and helped prevent more, unwanted pets coming into the world. And that's really what it's all about.
What's your favorite surgery to do?
Oh, my favorite surgery is a foreign body surgery, which for those of you who don't know, it's when an animal eats something that they shouldn't and it gets stuck in their GI system somewhere. And for me, it's like opening up a crazy present.
It is disgusting. When I walked into the room with you,
The
there was a
smell.
corn cob that had been rotting in this dog. Where was it in the dog?
It's just in the small intestine. Yeah, just sitting rotten, and that's not the first corn cob. You'd be surprised how many times. I think it's maybe because people are feeding squirrels corn or something. I don't know.
Huh. My dogs will not touch a vegetable, so I don't know. At
Yeah.
least I have that.
Yeah, and because it's an emergency surgery, it's life-threatening, and I have very good success with them. So it's nice, because a lot of these are just silly animals. It's not only just dogs either. Like last couple weeks ago, we had a cat that ate a part of a gym foam mat,
Mm.
that was stuck in their GI tract, and so yeah, it's nice because it's life saving. Like these animals would literally die if you don't do this. So
Yeah, that's gotta be so gratifying. I mean, it feels so good when we can say yes to something like that, and often we're able to charge hundreds instead of thousands to do
hmm
that.
hmm
Um, what's the weirdest thing you've ever pulled out of an animal?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, there's one that comes to my mind. It was the top. It was like a ring that you would put on a cupcake
Oh,
as like a decoration. And the only thing that really stood out to me is because the people had absolutely no idea where it came from. You know, it just makes you think like, where are these animals getting these things from? Well, what did we have? A little squishmallow. I don't know what those little.
oh yeah, like the little stuffed animal.
Yeah, a little McDonald toy thing. That was a good one too. Is
Wasn't there a song that the owner didn't know where it came from?
yeah, that's a classic underwear. And people not recognizing the pair.
I wonder how that conversation went later.
I wasn't at my clinic, but a clinic that I knew of. They showed me the radiographs. It was an engagement ring was inside
Oh,
a dog.
oh my gosh.
So it's yeah, so that can be fun.
Oh my goodness. And you have your own pets at home.
Yes, I do.
You have a dog and a cat.
Yes, I have Olive. I found her in St. Kitts when I was in school in the Caribbean. She was just a starving little creature. Actually, there's a story to it. My classmate runs along they had sugarcane trails on the island because sugarcane is a big industry there. And she had seen this dog and it had puppies and they didn't look good. And she went to class and she was telling me about it. And we just were like, we got to go see if these dogs are okay and these puppies are okay. So we skipped class. And that was not like me or my classmate. We were very good students. But we skipped class and we went and we found Olive and she had 3 puppies. But unfortunately, by the time we got there, they passed. But
Oh.
she was just emaciated, full of fleas, full of ticks, just horrible. And so I was just like, well, I know these puppies didn't make it, but the mom still needs help. And we picked her up and we brought her home and she lived under the air conditioning unit for like a day recovering. She was so rough. And the protocol down there is if you post a picture of a dog and nobody claims it in a week, then you get to keep it because a lot of the people let the dogs roam loose down there. But it seemed pretty obvious that she wasn't being taken care of. So that's how I got Olive.
Oh my gosh. And she's like traveled all around.
Yeah, yeah. So she traveled from St. Kitts back to America with me. We lived in Oregon. We've gone to dozens of national parks together. We love, travel. She's so good at traveling. She just gets to a hotel and she's like, "Yep, this is where I'm supposed to be." Yeah, she's my best bud. She's my soul dog.
It's wild. I mean, it's funny to look at her and be like, she was alone on this island. Like,
Yeah.
she seems like she knows this is the life she deserves.
Yes. Yes. We like to talk about how she's probably traveled than a lot of other people and lives a very good life. And then I have 2 cats. One, both of them I acquired through here. One was supposed to be a TNR and that I just offered to take home with me. And but another little sick kitten that was on its deathbed that I brought home and resurrected, and then it just couldn't leave my house.
Oh. Yeah, you treated one for FIP. Is that one?
Yeah, that's that one. He was such a sickly creature. But he's good now, and he is quite the character. He is a big personality, and he's very fun.
Like that FIP med that's out, it seems like it's a lifesaver. We started using it a little bit here. Besides that, like since you've been a vet, I mean, how many years have you been a vet now?
I'm going to be like 10 years about.
Are there any other advances in like technology like that have touched? I mean, for me, I think like my daughter, when like 10 years ago, we 3 cats in a row she adopted and they all had FIP and they were different litters, different shelters. And I'm just like, how is this humanly possible that we hit the FIP lottery like the worst way?
Yeah.
And so now to me, that's a huge improvement. But like, are there other things like that you've seen that have like changed either like the shelter medicine, like the kind of practice you do or anything?
Yeah. I would say, not as big as the FIP medication. That is a huge one. Um, and because before we were just kind of trying, people were getting it through from China before. Like
Yeah,
that's
it was
how
like the black market. You had to have
black
like a
market,
secret in.
and it was kind of a death sentence. I mean, things have changed medically with like recommended antibiotics or how you do your surgery, has adjusted through time. But I would say the FIP is probably the biggest thing.
Yeah, it's amazing that in a short period of time. I'm sure it was in studies and everything before that, but
Hmm.
we've had great success with the partners we work with who've been using it to help.
Hmm.
Um, and you have a furless child at
I do.
home.
I do. I have a little human baby at home who's going to be turning 1 year old soon. Yeah.
She's precious.
She's going through a major stranger danger phase right now.
Oh,
And so she's very attached to me, which is so sweet because she nuzzles her head into me. And like, I love that I'm her person. And then I'm just like, sometimes I'm like, please go to somebody else so I could go to the bathroom. But it's awesome. And I just love how my animals interact with her. And I have my family is all together. She was reading a book to Olive last night, and she loves strings. I don't know if it's because the cats love strings, but her and the cat play with strings together. And yeah.
do you think being a mom has changed how you are as a vet?
Yes, I do. I do. I think I'm much more sensitive now to people's, needs and understanding. And I'm just such a sucker for like animals and kids, that bond and that relationship, and how important that is, and how that can really like be kind of sometimes traumatic for kids if it's a bad one, and how wonderful it can be if, but what I'm trying to say is that yes, I feel like I am more sympathetic or empathetic, and yeah, I get a little bit more emotional about things maybe.
I think it's really informed, kind of how I lead the part of the rescue that I lead too, just with like, considering safety and considering like the well being. But then the best part is hearing those stories of people who adopted or are clients, and that this like animal saved this kid's life. Like
Mhm.
not like jumping into a fire to get the kid, but like in terms of like the relationship, like the bond
Mhm.
that a kid who maybe wasn't vibing with kids at school, like their kitten,
Mhm.
like I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. Yep. Yesterday we did a rabbit neuter, and there was just some rabbit that was going to become meat, and this woman just
hmm,
picked it up, and she said it's her son's best friend, and you're
oh,
just like, ah. Yeah, yeah, that's, I think a lot of people can relate to that. Like, me growing up too, I always, felt more connected to animals, or they were there to listen to you, or they're just to be there. I think there's even studies saying how like beneficial a pet can be for someone's, mental health and stuff like that, which I think it correlates to like what our mission is too, is, eh, people will take care of themselves sometimes better if their animal is healthy and being taken care of. Their pet provides them emotional support, and that improves their mental health. So by default, we're helping improve people's lives, um, and just essentially trying to keep those pets in the homes that they came from, so that people don't have to rehome their pet. Some people are like, well, if you don't have money, then you shouldn't have a pet, and I get that, but also we know how many animals there are down south, and I would much rather this cat come up from down south and be euthanized down there for not finding a home. And if this person doesn't have enough money to always be able to financially take care of this cat, maybe we can help that. So this cat can live, have a loving home. That cat can provide a person with emotional support. Um, just a whole circle.
absolutely. And I think like the old mentality used to be, if an animal needs something the person can't afford, then the shelter takes in the animal
Mm-hmm.
and the person's just out of luck.
Mm-hmm.
And then now I think what we're really trying to do at our clinic, I mean, my first thought when we opened the clinic before I even knew you was, let's have people use us as their vet. We'll use the money they give us that they would have spent at a general practice to supplement the care we're giving the animals we're taking from the shelters. And then it all comes together to give enough hours for a full-time vet, and then we can, be whole. And what happened is that people were pounding on the door saying, my dog's dying, I can't afford this. At the
Mhm.
emergency clinic, save my dog. And Dr. Brown back in the day was like, bring him in. And like now you're saying that in a much less gruff way. But every day, I mean, there's animals coming in that like you're literally saving their lives, or getting them on the right track to being healthy again. And I think that this access to care thing that we're doing, where we're offering affordable care, is actually arguably more impactful than even the rescue work we do.
Mhm.
And that's hard to say because that's why I started this all, is so that we could take the animals from the high volume shelters where they face euthanasia and bring them into our foster program, which is a huge part of my heart and it always will be.
Mhm.
But when you look at the numbers, we can only take in as many animals to our adoption program as we have foster homes available. And we need our foster homes to stay healthy and not be like overdoing it, like emotionally and mentally.
Yes.
But what we can do every day is help those animals stay in their homes by providing that affordable care.
Yeah, exactly. Now, with us having 3 and potentially a 4th vet coming on, we have more time and resources to be providing more care, and that goes towards helping people keeping their pets in their home. Um, yeah.
It's just really, I feel like it's a privilege every day.
Yes. Mhm.
And you work with our fosters. We have about 200 foster homes. They're not always active, but tell me about how that is to work with foster parents.
Yeah, it's I really commend foster families. I've also fostered, which helps, make me understand what they're going through because I know from experience, like, you have these mixed emotions of, like, "Oh, I'm getting a puppy," and also being like, "Oh my god, this puppy is pooping everywhere. Please, someone adopt it as soon as possible." And, working with the foster system is phenomenal because these animals aren't in shelters getting stressed. They aren't being exposed to a bunch of other animals that are sick. So, they can be healthier. We can understand their behavior better. It's a much better transition. Um, and so, but we depend on these fosters a lot to be monitoring these animals, being like, are they eating well? Are they pooping okay? That's a big responsibility, and our fosters are pretty good about it. Um, and you know, it it's fun working, some of these people aren't used to working with, like, larger dogs or kittens or puppies, so it's fun sometimes to educating and, working with them and, you know, educating them on how what they should be expecting and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I mean, in some days it feels tricky that we don't hospitalize here. We don't
Yes.
have around the clock care and we don't want to keep animals without supervision
Mhm,
here at
yeah.
night. So the fosters are sometimes serving like as an extension of you and our techs. I've seen you teaching them how to give fluids and
Yes.
things that like we're treating parvo when we do, see that on occasion in our foster homes
Right.
versus in a hospital.
Right, we don't hospitalize our patients, so yeah, our fosters are the ones who are giving those sub-Q fluids if they feel comfortable, and, a lot of them feel like they have to step up and do it, and which is great, um, and, yeah, give all those medications, and, we're not a 24/7 clinic, so if something happens in the middle of the night, they're the ones watching those pets and stuff like that,
Yeah, the people are our biggest resource, whether it's our staff like you and
mhm,
our fosters. So, but it's a lot to manage. Like you
yeah.
guys do such a good job of like, I mean, we have frequent flyers and those are often our foster parents who have a new pet every few weeks.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
um it's
Yeah, and there's, foster rabbits too, sometimes we get some fun species and, some of the times these people have no idea what to expect with these animals, and I commend them.
yeah. Well, and also like with rabbits, most vets don't feel comfortable doing anesthesia with did you do a ferret dental?
I did do a ferret dental. I'm pretty proud of that. Yeah, it was, yeah, some really old ferret that came into our care. She was so sweet, but her teeth were just rotten, and we just felt that we could give her a better quality of life if we tried to do a dental, and we did it, and it went really well. But thanks to we really planned and prepared for that because we were very intimidated.
I'm always inspired by how you find ways to, learn something new or find an innovative way to help. Like, it felt like it was like Barbie instruments, like that you were using, like to
Yeah.
make sure we could keep that ferret breathing during this surgery. It was just like, it's wild. But I'm just always inspired by how you and our other doctors are just doing your research, consulting with other doctors or specialty clinics, and finding, I don't want to say MacGyvering because that feels like there's less quality in it, but like, even if a client can't afford the gold star
Hmm.
standard, finding that way to keep that pet alive, because you know what? 9 times out of 10, it feels like there's success in it.
Yeah. It's just seeking that like the information that you need to be able to provide that care. Because it's hard. Veterinary medicine is not like human medicine. You are the dentist, you're the pediatrician, you're the nutritionist, you are dentist, emergency surgery, whatever. You're
Yeah.
everything. So that's a lot of knowledge. And so just having the confidence and the communication, networking to educate yourself to provide those services is really, and here at Underdog too, we don't limit ourselves. We very much are, telling people like, hey, this is what we can do, and if you feel comfortable, um, we are willing to try this.
Yeah. What's the hardest thing that you do?
The hardest thing. Oh, my personal hardest thing is just, there's some really hard medical cases that need, constant rechecking of blood work. Well, I guess medical cases that, sometimes it's not just one problem,
Mhm.
and you don't even know how many problems there are. There could be 3, there could be 5. And those cases are really hard, because ultimately they could benefit from going to a specialist, and maybe even that specialist might be stumped on what's going on. Um, and to figure out what's going on too, it would be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars of blood tests and things like that, and that might not even change
The outcome.
the outcome. So those can be challenging because you question like, oh, would it be worth doing this test? Would we be able to find something out that would change treatment? Or is that not a good use of our resources? So those complex medical cases are always, that's my least favorite and most challenging thing.
What's the best part of what you do?
Oh, well, is it like the people? I mean, I really, it's just Underdog itself. The, everybody here, all the employees here, and just everyone having the same mission of wanting to provide the best services that we can for everybody. Um,
And I think we have fun too.
yes, yes, and we have fun. Yes, it's
I'm
a good,
proud of the culture that we've been able to build over the years, because it hasn't always been, I mean, it's tricky. It's tricky having a whole bunch of people working in a clinic
yeah,
with a lot of strong personalities.
yeah.
And
And even though we've grown with the amount of employees that are here, I feel like we have a really fun work environment. And yeah, I don't mind coming into work and enjoying some chit chat and helping people. It's great.
I'm excited for our Galentine's Day weekend that we're planning, that we
Yeah.
do every 2 years with staff.
Yes.
It's a good bonding. So something I've been asking when I've been visiting shelters and I've been talking to people, I always try to remember to ask if there was one thing that you think, if like money weren't an issue, if staff and like resources weren't an issue, is there something that you think would change animal welfare for the better? Or something that you think could make a more positive difference? What's the answer to all of our problems with?
Oh, yeah, that's real easy. Thanks, Lauren. From my experience, I think staff is the big thing.
Like having the right people?
Having the right people, paying them well, making sure they're not overworked, and having enough. Yeah, just having enough people, and
So that we can all do our job
yeah, so we
well.
can all do our job well. And in this industry too, there's so many people who have those bleeding hearts that will be like, I will do this for free. And what happens then is that sometimes that gets taken advantage of. And you have people who want to give all their time, but maybe that's not the best because they need to take care of themselves too. So keeping them mentally healthy and not burnt out.
And the value of what you do, even though we charge less, is no less. The quality of what you're providing is no less than what somebody is, charging for at the vet school. I mean, like at UW, like, or at a specialty clinic. Like, I feel like the quality we're providing here, thanks to you and our team, like, it's not discount care. It's discount price. But like, I've never been so proud of like the quality that we're able to provide because of you.
Yeah. And like, I like to think of it too as like, I know I am the physical one doing the surgery, but I cannot be the person who schedules the appointment. I cannot be the person who puts in the records and, all these things. Like it really is a team thing. And like the value in my coworkers and everybody, I can't express enough how appreciative I am because I can't do what our receptionist does. We would have very few clients if I was doing that. And I'm just so appreciative of what everyone does because I can't do that, all of that.
Well, I am grateful every day for what you do. I am proud to call you a friend. Like, I feel so lucky that you're in my life.
Ditto.
Lenore Saindon, our medical director, thank you for being here on my pet project.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.